Hey guys, Level Who here, continuing my guide on the Scout helicopter. If you missed the previous guide, check the link below. So if you've managed to unlock the 25mm gun pods, this attachment absolutely destroys infantry. Interestingly, I find it relatively useless going against the light armor it is supposedly designed for. It takes nearly all 90 rounds to kill a jeep, where the miniguns will shred it in seconds. If you watched my previous video, the same aiming concepts applied for the 25mm gun pods. No throttle means that the floating crosshair is fairly accurate, and if you're moving, the bottom hash of that crosshair is a great reference point. And don't forget to significantly lead your targets when aiming, as these rounds travel a lot slower than other types. So my first tip with the 25mm gun pods is to shoot once at takeoff so that you have 29 rounds. Don't press reload, just leave it at 29 rounds. Once you have 29 rounds, that initiates the reload of your next batch of rounds. In fact, keep an eye on your rounds, and if at any point you have 30, go ahead and shoot once to make sure your reload will continue should you have an extended period of no shooting. Further, I generally don't ever push reload or randomly waste the rest of my active magazine unless I've only got a couple shots left. But what about the rest of the unlocks? If you're running the gun pods, I don't find autoloader to be that useful as long as you're using the reload method I just covered. Stealth and gyro are much better options. I personally like gyro because I find myself crashing because of a disabled vehicle much more often than being destroyed by the actual missile. Gyro allows you to be a bit more aggressive because of this. If you are low on health, you can usually limp away and repair from the side of the vehicle, but if you crash because you're in a spinning disable, you really can't repair your way out of that. At some point you'll get guided missile. Guided missile is exceptionally risky to run considering how powerful heat seekers are. If you feel you can really dominate the air with a minigun, guided missile can give you an interesting counter to pesky tanks and lavs, while retaining the minigun to engage jeeps and aircraft. I'd only recommend using the setups on map with plenty of building cover like Dawnbreaker or Siege of Shanghai Small. This way, you can use buildings to dodge incoming heat seekers from enemy helicopters. If you do equip the guided missile, there are some pretty effective tactics you can use to ensure you get a hit. The first is tried and true, and that is to maintain your lock for a bit, and most unskilled players will use their smoke. Once it clears, fire your missile, just be sure to maintain that lock. A really cool tactic you can use is to require your lock, fire, and then immediately switch weapons. Once the missile has time to fly unguided towards the target, quickly reacquire the lock and totally surprise the enemy. That's it for now. Check back later when I continue this guide with the most amazing tips yet for the Scout helicopters. But first, I'm going to move on to the other vehicles and give you some awesome tips there too. And don't forget, if you like this video, please hit the subscribe button below for more, and if you're not already there, you can check out my personal channel linked in the description below. Until next time.
Infantry right here. Holy crap.
Oh, dude, there's...
Ba bam bam ba dam bam.